everyone, welcome to the BME Life. So today we're gonna have a BME Life podcast, but for the first time we're gonna be doing it over the webcam, so it's pretty exciting. But we are both going to be doing it. Adrian is our show video producer, outreach manager, boy manager, whatever. Yeah.
For everyone watching the video and everybody listening on either the Apple Podcast app or Spotify or any other sound only, thank you for listening. The quality is going to be a little different from what we usually have because it's over the internet, but it's really great content from Jeffrey Dickinson. He's an R&D scientist at a company in downtown San Antonio, so he has a lot of really cool things to say about his experience, how he got there. So
yeah, like Adrian said, Jeffrey is an R&D scientist at a local pharmaceutical company, and he has a bachelor's degree in biomedical sciences, which I think is really interesting because I just recently learned that it's similar to biomedical engineering. So that's why we wanted to bring him on the podcast. But we talked a lot about a lot of very informative things like his degree, his career path, how he got into choosing it, his experience in the pharmaceutical industry, and just his experience as a student and as a professional, and what he just like his words of advice on people who might be interested in pursuing the same path.
So if you're aspiring to be an engineer or work in the biotech industry, we have here somebody who has tried a lot of things but found ultimately what he likes and a job that he really loves. So thank you for listening and watching, and enjoy the podcast with Jeffrey Dickinson.
I spent most of my life here in San Antonio, and I started going to community college here at the Alamo colleges. And I was originally going to go for mechanical engineering, and then I switched over to biomedical sciences because my biology classes were infinitely more interesting and fun than my calculus classes. So I stuck with that, and then I moved to Orlando to live with my grandparents and stuff because my parents are moving out of San Antonio and they're moving up to Oklahoma City. So they gave me the choice of, do you want to go live in Orlando with your grandparents or move with us to Oklahoma City? And it's like, there's no real choice here. I'm going to go to Orlando. So, but I finished my biomedical sciences degree at UCF in Florida and then moved back here to San Antonio. And now I'm working at DPT Labs in town, the pharmaceutical company. And I've recently started going back to school for a computer science degree. So I kind of bounced around between a lot of the things. And so I understand the struggle with the changing majors and, not sure which way, one way or another and everything, especially like right out of high school. Like you're expected to know this is my calling and this is exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, I think there's very few people that actually, identify with that. But the switching between them, it's really more about like what you find interesting and trying to find something that not only are you good at, but something you enjoy. And it's kind of like now where I'm at, I completely love computer science. And I feel like this is my jam. Biomedical sciences or biology and stuff like that. Like I can do that and I have fun with it, but it's not as rewarding for me, I guess. So, but it completely depends on who you are and what your strengths are and stuff like that. So.
Why do you think you didn't go directly into computer science?
So I think like, I don't know if it was talking with family members or just other people in general, but I had heard that people that get into computer science get burned out. Like they just get sick of doing it all day, every day. And just, you're always in front of a computer. And at first I thought that I was like, maybe I don't want to do that. Biology is much more interesting, more hands-on, there's stuff to do. But yeah, I think once I came around on it, I'm like, no, like I love this. This is exactly what I want to do. So at least for now. That may change in, a decade or so. So I don't know.
Yeah. So I just want to add and pitch how exactly we have Jeff on the podcast. I met Jeff when in a health tech hackathon. It was an event held by Velocity, Texas, local huge biomed company here in San Antonio. And this health tech hackathon was basically like just a community event where people from all different parts of walks in life and everything just got together to solve some problems and come up with ideas on how to solve problems by real companies, presented by real companies. So first plug, I guess, I just want to plug Velocity Texas and the whole geekdom community, right, for doing these kinds of things, and Launch SA, a huge, all these awesome people. But yeah, Jeff was on one of the teams, and they were creating like an Arduino that helped solve like a Parkinson's related problem, right?
Yeah, the initial problem is that there was a Parkinson's patients that basically they have a phenomenon that occurs with them called freezing, where as they're walking, their muscles tend to kind of, it's basically like as they're walking down a straight path or something and they're asked to turn around very quickly or turn around suddenly, they get into this kind of stuttering motion where their legs can't really do it in a nice fluid motion. So there has been some research that shows if there's a timing kind of rhythmic sound going in the background, that they're able to do the steps to the rhythm, and that helps them stay in a more controlled movement instead of the stuttering and potentially dangerous situations like if they're crossing the street or operating a car or anything like that. So we tried to make a device, which we had a working prototype for, which is a simple Arduino model that had a muscle sensor that whenever the muscle would contract, it would play music. And I think our big idea was to kind of incorporate a rhythmic kind of sounding music to go along with the Parkinson's patient. So, and ideally it would be more something specific to that patient, like music that they specifically like, but usually a rhythmic quality would be necessary to help it out and everything. And, but yeah, that was the basic idea, but we had a working model, solid presentation, and it really worked out really well with our group. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So I have a question about, I guess, talking about your degree in biomedical science, because it's actually pretty interesting. Wait, I'm going to take this off because I can.
Oh, okay.
Well, never mind. That I didn't hear until recently about biomedical sciences. And I heard it from a YouTuber that is doing like a whole biomedical sciences thing. And he was talking about how biomedical sciences and biomedical engineering and all these other majors are kind of like overlapping each other, but at the same time, they kind of complement each other. So, for example, I guess the engineering would be more heavily based on the engineering. What would you say the biomedical science is more like focused on? Like, what was your, I guess, your curriculum like?
So so basically the main choices at UCF, or the main kind of focus is, you had a biology degree, but biology is more focused on, you would take like zoology classes and, vertebrate classes and stuff like that and everything. So it's a very wide field. And if you're going into zoology and everything, like, okay, that's great, that's perfect. Or marine biology, I think they had a specialization for that as well. But the biomedical sciences, the upper level courses were more on like molecular biology, anatomy and physiology. And then they had one, it was basically focused more on actual research and lab testing. Like we did SDS page, Western blotting, those type of things. So breaking down proteins and trying to analyze lab samples like that, versus spending more time on zoology-based kind of stuff. And it was more geared towards med students and ones that are specifically, they figured out that was the thing that they wanted to do. So it was kind of gearing them up for that or for research. So that was kind of the nice thing with that. And yeah, I actually had some questions for you as far as the biomedical engineering. So I'm assuming that you learn some of the biology stuff and everything, but then you also go into like how far down the engineering track do you get?
Yeah, so actually it's kind of, I don't even know how to explain. I feel like biomedical engineering is very surface level of everything. You get very little, at least in the program at UTSA, it's very top level engineering. I think, and a lot of it is like electives. So, for example, I'm taking statics and dynamics, but I could take circuits instead, or I could take thermodynamics. But it's not like mechanical engineering where they make you take all these classes. It's kind of like you just pick and choose which engineering courses you want to take. There are some like um, I guess like general engineering courses that everyone is required, like or like pre-engineering, like for example, like physics, statistics, I don't know, engineering analysis, like classes like that. Everyone has to take, but when it comes to like thermodynamics and circuits, there's a lot of people with BME degrees, like me, for example, that I didn't have any exposure to circuits in my whole career. And now for my senior design class, we have to design an electrical device. So it's like, how are you even going to do it? Because we never got any electrical engineering on. I think it's, I don't know, we do get a lot of biology. Like we take the, chemistry, biology, physiology, cell biology, but then after that it also becomes very like elective, like it's up to you if you want to take, because at UTSA at least we have 3 tracks. So it's mechanical, like biomechanics, and then cellular and tissue engineering, and then imaging. So it's really up to you. But then again, the program makes it like very easy to take shortcuts and not take some classes. So at the end, you kind of end up just being very top level on everything.
Okay. With the biomedical sciences, there was several different teachers and teaching styles with how they would do certain things. Like I know with, I think it was molecular biology, there was, no, wasn't it? Can't remember, but I know that there was one class that I went in and I sat down with the in the class in the first week and everything, and just the way that the teacher taught everything was, I don't know, it wasn't following like a set curriculum. He would ask a lot of questions, and then the crowd of students, one of them would answer, and then he would say like, he's like, sometimes there's, a lot of people say there's no dumb answers. That was a dumb answer. And he would call you out for it and everything. And I was like, I don't know if I can handle this. But so I ended up dropping that one and took it with somebody else. And I completely loved that teacher's way of teaching it. And he was gave you all the material. There was no surprises on exams. It was all there. You just had to sit down and memorize everything. But there were some teachers that would like do things like that, or some that it really just depended on who you got. But at the same time, I met other people that swore up and down that first teacher that would call people out, that was their best experience in the classroom that they've ever had. So it's like, I don't know, maybe if you stick with it, it pays off. But initially he kind of like breaks you down.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think it's crazy how a lot of classes really depend on the professors, and it's kind of sad because you could be taking a very knowledge-heavy class and not get anything from it because of the professor.
I don't know. I think as I got farther in my degree, I put less and less emphasis on the whole rate my professor type of stuff where, okay, no, like I need to get the good professor. After a certain while, I realized that, like, as long as the material's there, like it's you just have to put in the time to actually, memorize it and everything. And I think that was the biggest thing with the whole biology degree is a lot of it is memorization. Yeah. So if you're good at sitting down and making note cards, or just sitting down and making a study sheet, or just memorizing in general, like you're going to do fine with the whole biology degree. I think that the mechanical engineering and computer science as well, it's much more problem solving based. So if you love problem solving, then I would recommend those type of things. Or, and if you have like a natural knack for math or anything like that, like those are great fields to get into, and they do transfer over a lot.
Is it heavy on the maths? Like you mentioned you took calculus, no, that was for mechanical engineering, right?
Yeah, initially I think I was taking Cal 1 and Cal 2. So while I was taking Cal 2, I was taking Bio 2. And Cal 2 was a good class. I took it here in San Antonio, and I really liked Cal 2. It wasn't too bad. The way that teacher was, he was he didn't grade any of the homework. You were just expected to do it, and then the morning of the next class, he would basically open up the floor for any questions on that homework. And so there were a couple of the other students that actually took the time to do it, and they would ask the really, really difficult questions that had the tricky parts at the end, and he would work through those, and I would just take fantastic notes during that first 5 or 10 minutes, just no, I need to write all this down, because I never did the homework the night before, so I would just do that. But it worked out really well though, so it wasn't too bad. But the way that guy taught was really nice, but at the same time when I was taking Bio 2 was just so much more interesting and so much more fun. So I don't know. And I was talking about it outside of class, whereas it's kind of hard to bring up anti-derivatives in normal conversation. So I don't know. I just had more fun with it. But
so I just want to know, so the DTP, right? What does that stand for?
Oh, DPT.
Sorry, DPT.
This is bad. I should know this. It's I'd have to look it up again.
Don't worry, we'll cut this out.
Everything.
It's not even important, but so I just want to know, that's in south of downtown?
Well, yeah, so they have several locations. I think the probably the one that most people see, they have a big sign and everything, is right next to the Pearl, or just north of the Pearl. That's the plant. So I work down in the southeast side, the Brook City base location. So that's where the R&D section is and everything. So that's our main focus is, so I guess going into it a little bit more. So with DPT, so they're mainly a pharmaceutical company. So we have they kind of have the company split. So part of it does CDMO stuff, which is the contract-driven manufacturing. So basically, people can set up a contract with us, and they can bring their formula for a drug product that they want to get through to the FDA, and we, for a set fee or something like that, or a negotiated fee, can basically do all of the R&D work and the method development and all of these kind of things to get it ready for the FDA submission. And then we charge them whatever, but then they keep the formula and everything. So we can't sell that kind of thing. But at the same time, we also have our own section where we make our own drugs and have our own pipeline for stuff, but we specifically keep it separate so the two sides don't talk. So, but the nice part about it is by having our straightforward, our own pipeline, sometimes there's a lot of places throughout that pipeline where the drug can fail. Whether it fails in development, whether it fails in validations, whether it fails in QC, whether it fails in stability, then it goes to clinicals, then it fails clinicals, all of those places it can fail. And that's a huge amount of money that's lost during that pipeline. But the CDMO side can basically fill in those little shortcomings as far as failures and stuff like that, as far as a drug product's concerned. So it's a huge investment to make a new drug, because it has to go through all of these steps. And if it fails halfway through, all of that money is basically lost. You do have you can keep the results and stuff like that, maybe tweak the formula, and usually that's what they do a lot of times, is they'll tweak it. Okay, maybe this happened, maybe that happened, and they try to fix it. But the CDMO side is the one that kind of, no matter what, that's a steady state of revenue. So that's kind of the business model and everything. But yeah, it's pretty nice though, and yeah, working with the R&D section is really great. My specific group is fantastic. But yeah, and we're kind of the in-between guys between R&D and QC. So we have to do all of it, or be able to understand both sides, and we have to communicate with both sides, and the requirements of one don't necessarily apply to the other, but they, it depends on what exactly we're doing. But it's I think I've been there 4 years now. Yeah, 4 years. In
Nice.
August, it'll be 5 years. So
Wow. You've been there for a while.
Yeah. It was 2015 was when when I finished my degree, and then I think I was job hunting for 5 months, and then I got a temp job there. And then once it almost turned into a year, that's when they hired me on as a full-time employee.
Hey guys, if you like to support the channel, don't forget to buy some merch. We have some on our Instagram page. If you just want to go to @the BME Life, you can DM us and we'll get your order. Also, don't forget to follow us on our new Facebook group at the BME Life, where you can join and ask any questions that you may have, meet other cool people that are doing the same thing that you're trying to do, or just stay updated to all the news and videos and posts that we may have in the future. Thanks for watching.